Out, first play of the game, we get a nice play behind him, and then leads a breaking ball up. Bobby Witt clips him a little bit, and then there was some contact out there, but there was a good club that strung some hits together. They get the first two guys on in that one inning, and then we get that guy to sack bunt, we get the out right there. We think we're going to get a ground ball, and then fastball elevated, and he winds up clipping it and putting it in his seat. So down 4 early. The stuff was there. Just they swung the bats pretty well.
What have you seen from Jason Adam, who's worked an awful lot? Is he having to come in the zone too much? What is happening with Jason lately?
No, I think that's just where guys are. It's that time of the year sometimes where guys are going out. They're pitching the best they can. Base hit, a walk, and then like that team does, man. When they get some guys moving, they string a lot of hits together and do some things. So. Just a recipient of a good hitting team, and found a barrel and found some grass.
What do you make of what Trenton Brooks can bring to this team, a left-handed bat, a guy on the bench? I know you're kind of often in charge of looking at some of the strategy area of things. Yeah. What does that provide you guys?
Yeah, no, Trenton had a really good spring training for us, and the one thing I like about Trenton, I think we as a group, collectively, that he's a grinder. He gets in there and he's not afraid to take some swings. He's got a really good eye at the plate, so he gets himself into some pretty good counts where he's able to do some damage when he gets that pitch over the heart of the plate. So pretty good showing so far. He's had a couple of strikeouts, but for the most part he's had some really good at bats where he's impacted the baseball and some extra base hits. So it's good to see what he did in spring training carry over to the major league level here now.
How was today on the whole for you? When did you kind of learn that you would be managing this game, and how did it go for you in the dugout tonight?
Well, it was just business as usual, to be honest. When we got here, it was just a matter of just preparing for the Kansas City Royals, and then some of the news broke where they were handing out some of the suspension talks and all this kind of thing, and Skipper just said, "Hey, you got it tonight." So, as far as anything different, it was just doing what we usually do as a collective group. We prepare well, we get our information, we gather it, we have good conversations about what we're going to do for the game, so that there's no surprises when we get out there, and the game kind of ran pretty much how we kind of envisioned it, without being on the right end of the score. But as far as how we were going to roll guys out and who's going to hit in what spots, it was this group does a great job of collecting a lot of information and being prepared really well. So it was great to just have the staff in the dugout help me along, and just everyone was buttoned up. So it's all I had to really do was just point a few fingers and make a few mound visits and do some things like that.
How much did it feel once you guys got going like it could be one of those nights that you guys have had maybe sporadically recently, but quite a bit this season?
Right. Going down 4-0 early, coming off a tough series, and then the guys fight back and bounce all the way back to tie the game. So it's just a testament to the guys in the clubhouse again, and the staff. It's these guys come out and they do the best they can to compete with what they got that night, and I thought we did a really good job. It's a good ball club, and they pitch well, and they swing the bats well, and they go up 4-0. That's a moment where some teams might roll over and kind of pack it in, especially after travel back late last night. But these guys didn't, man. They fought back, and we used every bit of our 27 outs we had, and down to the last one where we had an opportunity to tie the game. So.
Thanks, Brian. Nick, was that pretty straightforward? It seemed like your frustration was fairly evident. Were you not hitting your spots tonight?
Yeah, wasn't commanding the baseball when I needed to. Got behind most of the guys and wasn't executing pitches when I needed to.
Obviously, you pitched a lot. Is that something that just happens? Was there any indication as to why is that?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll dig into it a little bit more in the next 5 days, but try to focus on it, try to come back and have a better start, and just try to string along a couple quality starts together. I think that's what I got to do.
After the home run, even if maybe you weren't hitting your spots, you were surviving until the next home run. On the last one, just leave the ball up.
Yeah, just mislocated heater again. I would assume the video wasn't working very well, so I still haven't seen the pitch. But I would assume it's the same pitch that Suarez hit last week. Good, thank you.
The fastball that isn't.
No, it's always. There's a lot of adjustments to be made. Right now, it seems like make one adjustment, then have to make a different adjustment the next one. But I feel like really close to locking it back in. I feel like I've made some good strides in my pregame bullpens, warming up, and really felt like my stuff was there tonight. I just left left a few. There was some execution that was poor tonight. Whether it was the, Salvy's aggressive there, so probably got to get out of zone. First pitch to Waters right down the middle. The walk obviously stinks. So there's a lot to go back and adjust, but didn't feel as bad as the results I put out there. But it was a bad one.
Is this what's happening with you right now, sort of a reliever, the margin of error is virtually nothing? Yeah, I think, I felt like my last outing in LA, I felt like, all right, that's it, that's what we're looking for. And I felt like that warming up again tonight, and then just didn't do it. I think it's not a lack of effort, not a lack of focus, just a lack of execution. So I'm going to be better, be ready, show up tomorrow ready to pitch and be better. It sucks though tonight because those guys, the boys battled back, put us in a spot to win a ball game. So you want to come in and do the job and get them back in the dugout, but didn't do it tonight. But look forward to doing it next time.